Hey, what's up, everybody? Is the fourth wave now in play? Are we going to come up and break the top? We're going to talk about it. I think there's a very good chance that the fourth wave is finally here, right? Because you can see all the other times, for example, this was a running flat. We had an A, B, and then we had a flat for a C, right? And we came back up, took the high. Right? Same thing in here, same thing in here, right? Same thing here, same thing here. So either this needs to come down so that we can break the high, or we go flat in here, we build a base, and then we break the high. So I believe the fourth wave is here. I think it's time. I mean, for goodness sake, we basically nailed $1.30, just about. And that was right in the area that I've been expecting. The reason why is because when we zoom out, you can see this was the retracement block that I believe is very important. One of the most significant areas to get through is this right here. And I can show you the extent of that on this chart right here. And when you go back in time, you know, there's really nothing over here, right? It's straight up, straight down. There's no sideways consolidation. Right here, we have some sideways consolidation. We have a pretty massive order block there, right? Not even mentioning, I mean, you still got this area over here, right? But the big area is where we are now, in between these two black lines, right? And I actually can move it down a little bit more to right about there. So that lines up with this point around that 94-cent area. So this is the area that we talked about yesterday, that we want to see it, you know, sort of correct in this area, given the third wave is complete. So if we look, here we are in between those two black lines, and this is, again, this is where we expected it to sort of, you know, chill out a little bit. So if you look at the waves, right, we have a 1, 2, right? That's wave 1 and 2. And then all of this is the third wave. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, extended fifth. Okay? So this whole thing is wave 3. Now what we're doing here is we're most likely flagging out for a wave 4. Once that's finished, I expect it to go up and hit a wave 5. And crypto always gives us pretty wild wave 5s. You can see, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of that's 5. Look how big that fifth wave is. Huge, right? Same thing here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look how big that wave 5 is, right? So you always get these extended fifth waves in crypto. So I think we have to figure out what's going on in this right over here. And by the way, it looks corrective. It doesn't look like it reversed and now it's going to fly to the downside. I mean, it could still, you know, do that. But for me right now, it looks perfectly normal, perfectly healthy. So let's take a look at it. So what we have right now is, I'm actually going to slide this down to there. Okay, so what we have is we have 3 waves down. All right, we got 3 waves up. So here's the thing. Either we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, right? And it could be like an ABC. Or this is going to be 3 to the upside. And then we have another 3 waves to the upside. So it becomes like, it becomes 3 itself, a more complex 3. So A or W, X, Y, something like that. that gets us a little bit higher in the retracement levels, around $1.15, $1.20. And then we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it becomes A, B, C. We want a three-wave shape. And if we print the shape that I just drew there, that would be a very good spot to buy the dip, in my opinion, not financial advice. I could be wrong, right? So it's all about tracking the small time frames, figuring out exactly what it's doing. There's no way to know for sure because the correction just started, right? So we don't really have too much wave structure except for what we see, right? So I would imagine we're going to be in this range for a little while. I don't know how long. You know XRP, it likes to shoot up very fast and then it goes sideways and tortures the hell out of people for a long time. Hopefully that's not the case. I don't think it will be, because this is a breakout wave, right? And what I mean by that is we've cleared above this range we've been in for so long. Over a year we've been in this range. Also this range here, right? And this is just one big range, and we finally broke out of it. And now the only thing we have left, and the reason why this took so long, is because we were underneath all of this, right? We were underneath this, and it was just trying to like grind and grind, right? Think of this like XRP is in prison and it's trying to break out, right? And you got these concrete walls, and every night when the guards go to sleep or walk around, or they're sitting there chiseling at the door, or chiseling at the wall, trying to get through the hole. Ever see Shawshank Redemption? There you go, right? We're trying to get through, and it's taking forever and forever and forever and forever. And then finally one night, bam, we bust through. But wait a minute, now we got this plumbing we got to deal with. You know what I mean? So it's a funny analogy, but it is what it is. So we're at that final stage before XRP really lets loose, right? I would say between those two black lines is really the area that it's going to really accelerate, in my opinion. So we also have $1.60, and that's also going to be a little bit of a challenge. And then of course we have the all-time high at $1.30, right? But if we look, let's see, let's go to the 3 days fine. If we put this right on the bottom of the candle, we see that between 282 and 330. If we go to the 2-day chart, I want to see where the close is. It's about the same. All right, let me look at the daily chart. I want to make sure the close is the close is right there as well. So that's perfect. 282 to 330. So I would actually do this, a dotted line. And yeah, that's let me go back to the 3 days so we can get the full picture here. All right, so there we go. So what we just witnessed was how long was that? From here to there. 865 days roughly. That was a 865-day reaccumulation range. I mean, that's insane, right? Imagine holding it for that long, and I want to just say cheers to the XRP army, XRP community for holding through all that and having the faith and conviction, right? Man, it was tough. But at the end of the day, we just had to wait and see. Because for me, this thing was very bullish in that we expected something like this to happen. The reason why is because that's exactly what happened over here, right? We had some sort of reaccumulation range. We didn't think it'd be that long, but you know what? With the lawsuit and all that stuff, it makes sense, right? So here we are. We're at $1.03, and that was one of the numbers I was looking at, $1.03. I didn't, that's actually the area I thought we would stop. But we actually exceeded that about $1.30, and now we're chilling at $1.03. So that's even better, right? So what we have here, now let's put it all together and wrap it up, and let's move on to the other altcoins. So what we have here is, let me bust this out, is a 1, 2, all of this is 3, then we're going to get 4, and then we're going to get 5. I don't know where 5 is going to go. That's the thing. Is it going to break out of all-time highs? Is it going to get stopped in here, right? We kind of want it to get back to the all-time high, but sort of not break it, sort of maybe consolidate a little bit into a wave 2. So 1, 2, right? And then we get 3. So this whole wave would just be wave 1, right? Of a larger degree. So when we zoom out, we have all of this being the third wave right here. So this would be 1, and then we flagged out for a long time. Remember, this was our correction we've been looking at forever, A, B, C, or W, X, Y, or even 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Depending how you look at it. So that's 1, 2, all of that's 3, right? And then we sort of flag out for a 4, and then we go up, and that would be the grand finale, wave 5. Let me show you what that would look like. So I guess I can remove these now. So we have 1, 2. Let's get up here, 3, right? Remember, the third wave most likely is not finished yet. 1, 2, because we only have 1, 2, 3. We need 4 and we need 5. So 1, 2, all of that's 3, right? Then we flag out for a 4. Somewhere between this area and this area, I would imagine, right? It could be different. We have to, I'm kind of just making projections. Projections are different than actual, TA, you know what I mean? Because I'm sort of projecting outwards what the waves, so that we can kind of paint a picture here. So essentially we would have this be a wave 1, this be a wave 2, right? And then you can say that this was a diag in here for a wave 1 of 3, wave 2 of 3, and now we're in wave 3 of 3, right? Which means we're most likely going to go a lot higher than that, right? Just by the proportionality. This wave right here, this fourth wave of this third wave, might be just a subwave of that, of a lower degree wave. So I know you're making me confused. What are you talking about? No. So here's the let me just say this. 1, 2, 1, 2. We get up here for a 3, 4, and then we have an extended 5th, maybe between $10 and $20. And that's how I'm looking at it. That's basically clear cut and dry. And right here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's all going to be dictated on what happens in here, right? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. What if it's not that? Well, if it's not that, then what else would it be? Well, if you're talking bearish, super bearish idea, you have A, B, C, A, B, C, and W. Wait a minute. So you have 1, 2, 3, right? So that would be a 3-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Getting back up here. So what you would have is you would have 3 down, you would have 3 up, and then what you would do is you would come back in this range, basically back testing it, right? So let me take a line and put it right there. All right, and I can get rid of all these other lines. And put the line right there. So if it's going to be super bearish, right, again, we would have 3 down, we would have 3 up, and I don't think it's finished though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that would be A, B, C, right? So we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and then hopefully at that point it would be some type of running flat where we would come back down and we would retest the breakout area, this line right here, right? And we would play around, sort of like reaccumulation, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We go sideways. We're building a base on top of our base that we've just created for over a year. And I don't see why it would need to do that. I mean, it's already, in my opinion, had plenty of accumulation, but I'm just throwing you some ideas here. If it was going to be bearish, I still expect a little bit more upside, but then for us to come back down, retest this area for a little while, maybe a month or so, maybe more than that, and then go up, right? And then go up. And then what we would have is 3, 3, and then 3. It'd be like a running flat, right? Or you can even say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, go, which is actually very bullish. So yeah, it is Sunday. It is the weekly close. We're going to talk about the weekly close in just a minute. But if it was going to be really, really bearish, and the only reason I'm saying it is because I want to be fair to the bears, it would be 3 down, it would be 3 up, and then you would get 3 back down, which would be devastating. Boom, boom, boom. Probably down to 17 cents. Right? And then we go up. So this was all a B wave or a W. This was an X wave, and then we have Y. Right? So then what we have, ladies and gentlemen, is a wave 1, and this is a wave 2. And now we're going to go up for wave 3. You see what I mean? That's why it's dangerous. What I mean by dangerous is we're in the retracement levels. Anytime you're at the retracement levels, look, point A, point B, point C. You see that? That's our UFO triangulation analysis, right? When you're in the center of the beam here, that's always the most dangerous point, right? Think of it like an arrow. And you got a little guy right here about to get his head taken off. You know what I mean? So you don't want to be in front of that thing. So essentially, we just kind of have to wait and see. But I don't think it's going to be 1, 2, and 3. It could. And if it did that, I would more expect it to be 1 and then sort of like this. Sort of billowing up, you know, in here before taking off. But here's what I think is going on. This is what I believe is happening. And we've talked about this before, right? We have an A, we have a B, we have a C, we have a D, and we have an E. We have a completed Elliott wave contracting triangle, right? Some people draw it the wrong way. I don't understand why. But if you look, if we go to the conservative approach, right, you can see, look at that. We wicked through it, but we weren't ready yet. You know why? Because it's momentum, right? It's momentum. So we did break out on linear scale, but on log scale, actually, let me go to the other XRP chart, and let me show you something real quick, because this one's more, I think, more accurate. So here's our beautiful fractal chart. All right, I'm gonna get rid of that, and I'm gonna go to the 2-week chart. All right. And we have a 2-week engulfing candle and it ends in 4 hours. Not only the weekly chart is going to end, but also the 2-week chart is going to end, which is even more interesting. Okay, so from a 2-week perspective, right? If I go wick to wick, that's the absolute most conservative thing we can do, is go wick to wick. But the problem with that is you only have 2 touches, right? But it is very conservative, and I like to stay conservative. So we'll just say we haven't broken it yet, right? But if this thing closes, right? It's all about the close, guys. We need the weekly chart to close above that line, right? So let's look at the weekly. Let's see for a moment here. Yeah, so we're clearly going to break out of that line. So that's exactly what happens when you finish with a wave E, all right? So again, we have A, B, C, D, and E. So there we go. All right. And you can tell because each wave needs 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And last but not least, 1, 2, 3. And now, right, because each wave is contracting, it's getting smaller and smaller, right? And then we had a wave 1, and then we flagged out for a wave 2. That little tiny wave 2 took a long time, and we've been talking about it. And basically, you know, we were just waiting for it to break out, and bam, we got the breakout. So if you ask me, this is a 4th wave triangle, right? Triangles usually appear in 4th wave. So you have also one here, A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so if this is a 1 and a 2, and all of this is a 3, and now this is a 4th wave triangle, what comes next? Wave 5. What is the biggest wave in crypto? Usually wave 5s. So, and why would it be big? Not only because it's the wave 5, but look how massive this correction is. Again, this is the longest downward resistance line in crypto history. There's no line longer than it. Not even close. It's a 7-year downward resistance line, which means what? Which means the pressure, right? The supply line is so strong, right? That when you bust through it, that tells me the demand line, that the demand, right? This is your demand line. This is your supply line, okay? When the demand is stronger than the supply, you get breaks. And that's what we see. And that is the first small step for mankind. Remember that? That's the first step for something a lot bigger. Not financial advice. I could be wrong. This could go to 0 and you can lose all your money. But is it really going to go to 0? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it could go to 0, right? But when you look at stuff like this, it makes me think, you know, you got the director of the IMF, or the monetary markets. You got Christine Lagarde. You got the chairman of Saudi Arabia. This is a picture I like to share. And there's other pictures out there. But these are some high-level people. Like, I don't see, like, Polka Dot hanging out with the chief executive of Hong Kong Monetary Authority. I just don't see that. You know what I mean? So some people say, oh, well, he's part of the deep state. He's part of the globalists. He's part of, you know, all these. Well, if that's true, then why is he hanging out with Trump? Why did Ripple stay in the United States? Ripple could have left the United States during the litigation of the SEC. Say, you know what? Screw you, U.S. You guys are corrupt. You're coming down on our business for no good reason except you're corrupt and you're in bed with Ethereum. By the way, there's a brand new movie out and you have to watch it. Here it is right here. It's called Rigged from the Start. And basically it goes all over the corruption at the SEC, but also the Ethereum free pass, because the SEC was, you know, you had Hinman and all those guys. They were in bed with Ethereum, right? And Ethereum and the SEC collaborated together because they didn't want any competition. They knew how big of a threat Ripple was. But I don't even know why, because Ripple is a totally different blockchain than Ethereum. But there was something else to it. And I think this movie is going to uncover a lot of it. So you can go to YouTube and watch the trailer. It's rigged from the start. Let's see what it says here. Pulls back the curtain on the high-stakes legal battle between the SEC and Ripple Labs, exploring the impact on the crypto world through the passionate perspective of the XRP army, with exclusive insights from industry leaders, attorneys, crypto influencers, and researchers. This documentary reveals the untold story behind one of the most significant cases in finance. It should be fintech, but challenging the boundaries of regulation and the future of the global monetary system.
SEC is preparing to sue that crypto.
I don't want to get a copyright strike, but
last day in office, like mission accomplished. We became convinced that this whole case was merely a show.
The SEC has become a rogue agency.
And our approach for the last several years has been just really a disaster.
Day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
We don't need more digital currency. We already have digital currency. It's called the US dollar.
The SEC came out and said Ether is also not a security.
We believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
I also have some theories as to some of the...
So anyway, I'm not going to show the whole trailer. If you want to go see that, just go to, I think that says Fruition Productions. They're all over social media. I'm sure you've already seen it, but yeah, it looks like the real deal, a real documentary, a real movie highlighting things like this. So anyways, let's get back to the chart. Again, the weekly chart's going to end, the 2-week chart's going to end, and now we have confirmation that not only we're going to clear beyond this, right, but then also we're going to clear beyond this line here, right? So we broke out of two major areas, the 7-year downward resistance line from hell and the horizontal resistance line. So, you know, a lot could happen after you break out. So here's a couple things that could happen. Number one, traders look for confirmation. Well, we got clear confirmation. And then what you do is you kind of snap back a little bit and go. That's number one. Number two, people, you know, you break out and then they go, okay, we break out, let's take our profit. You go, why would you take your profit after you just broke out? Because we could go down and retest 75 cents. Retest that 75. I don't think it'd be that low, maybe 89. I would say somewhere in the 80-cent region, 77, and then backtest, right? And then break out, right? So those are the two things that could happen. How do you know which ones are going to be? Well, we just looked at the smaller time frames, and we can see right here, right, that this is a 1, 2. This is a 3. We need 4, and we need 5. So I don't think we're going to retest unless we have a very significant wave 4, right? If this thing pulls back a lot, the problem with that is then it would be out of proportion with wave 2. You see what I mean? So let's take a look at how long. Let's do some time analysis here. All right. And I'm a little bit fuzzy. I used to do it all the time, but let's see if I remember how to do it. So you take a trend-based time extension, right, from the bottom here. So there's a couple ways you could do it. For example, I could start at the bottom of this wave here and then go all the way to the top. Right? And if I want to get our wave 5, what I would do is I would click it, and then let's say wave 4 ended on November 21st. And then I would double click it right there, or click it again. Whoops. And then what I would do, and that would project where our 5th wave would be. So I like to see around the 618, around there. So right around here, right? So let's say the wave ends here, right? And then we can project outwards where the fifth wave would end. Okay, so that's one way to look at it. But we want to know where the fourth wave is going to potentially end. So if I take the same thing and I go right about there, and then I come all the way up, and then I click it twice. Now it's not basing it off the size of this wave 2. It's basing it how big this wave 3 is, right? I could have done it from here to there, but I have to go back and see exactly how to pull it. Again, I'm a little rusty on the time stuff, but if we just look, I would actually look somewhere around that 50% area, right? Because how big, or you know what we could do? Let's look at Bitcoin and look how big, right, wave 4 was in comparison to wave 3. Okay, so wave 3, if I do the same thing with this, and it's always subjective on how you do it, but if I take it from the top of here, whoops, that's not the right one. Okay, from the bottom of here to the top. Okay, make sure that's right there. And okay, it looks good. So we actually bottomed right around the 786 of that time. So it was 786 of the time. All right. So all right, so that's a good little spot. Let's try it again, but with this wave. So if I take this wave, trend-based fib extension, from the bottom of this wave to the top, dang it, I keep doing it because I'm always used to pulling that one. There we go. It actually landed right at the 1. So actually it was a little bit bigger. So it was actually a 1-to-1. But we actually topped a little bit higher. You can actually do it from this area, but it's technically, see, I don't think it matters if it's a B wave when you're dealing with time. So if I take it from here to the actual top, see, it doesn't really make sense because it would have to be on the other side. So for Bitcoin, it was about 786 of the time of the third wave. All right. So if we go to the XRP and we go back to let's go to the 1 hour. Actually, let's go to the 4 hour. There we go. Okay, so 786 of the time, I mean, that's a pretty big fat correction. You know, you're looking at basically a 2-week correction, guys. Okay, so I will put one here. See, we are on different time frames, and I know things move faster, obviously on the smaller time frames, but it shouldn't make too big of a difference. So I'm going to put a line here. I'm going to put a line here, and I'll put one more right about there. Okay, and then I'll get rid of this. There we go. So those are the 3 lines that kind of gives us an idea of where the fourth wave should end. All right. So if we look at wave 2, let's see how long wave 2 was. And there is rules of alternation, meaning wave 2 can be small, wave 4 can be big, but you sort of want it in the same degree. I can't see where it's at. So that's about 4 days. So I already know it's going to be longer than 4 days, right? This was a 1. We have a 3-way pullback. It's going to be longer than 4 days. I mean, look at the sub wave of 2. That was about 2 days there. So let's go up and let's measure out 4 days. So from here to there. Okay. So I'm going to put a line right here. And then we could do this like a dotted line. All right. So that's like the bare minimum we should get for a correction. And we're not even there yet. That would be November 20th. So we're probably not going to break this high until at least November 20th, probably longer than that. So the scale of this wave 3, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to zoom back out a little bit, and I'm going to put a horizontal line right there, and we'll go down to right about there, all right? And then we'll go back to the 4 hour or the 3 hour, whatever. So this is our zone where we should expect a bottom, or expect it to end the correction, right? So let me tone that way down. And right off the bat, it still looks a little big. So let's see how it would make sense. So we don't even see, the problem is we don't even have 3 waves yet, right? So I really don't like doing this type of stuff until we actually have a solid foundation. But anyway, let's say we get 3 down, right? And then we come up and we get 3 up. And then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Well, that makes sense because that would enter into our zone here. And then we start sort of building a base, and then we go up. So that's kind of a way you can do it, right? This is more of a projection video. I'm just trying to give us ideas of what it could look like over the next several weeks. Now, is there a possibility that the wave isn't finished? There is, but I doubt it, all right? Because I think we got 5 waves here, right? You got a 1, you got a 2, right? And you got a 3, you got a 4, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you got 5. So it appears like you have 5 waves. But I'll tell you what, if this comes down like this and tags this area, and then we fire up one more time, then I'm going to be looking at that as the 4th of the 3rd, right? So then what I would say is we would have 1, 2, all of that's 3, okay? And then we're flagging out for 4, and then we get 5. And then we start the much bigger correction. So those are sort of the 2 options there, all right? So I think that'll do it for now. Let's look at the small time frames for just a minute before we wrap it up. Yeah, it's definitely corrective, definitely bearish right now. Obviously, you got 3 down, you got 3 up, and now you're sort of here, right? You're sort of just kind of teetering here. So I would expect a little bit of a bounce and probably making our way down it. You know, this could turn into, if it comes back up to here, right? It could be like 3 down, right? So you get 3 up, you get 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 back down. So if you get a big retrace somewhere around here, then we'll look at it as a WXY. Other than that, it would probably be more of a C wave, which is 5. So, all right, let's go to Bitcoin. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing, because it's really going to depend on what Bitcoin's doing too, right? Because remember, we had the daily 9, right? And I said this before it happened, right? We were looking at it on candle number 7 and 8. I said, or I think it was 7. I said, look, a 9's coming, but also we had a 4-day 9, which is right here, which just closed, excuse me, 2 days ago. So, what does that mean? Well, check out that free members video, and you can look at it. But basically, it's an exhaustion indicator. So we either want a 1 to 4 candle correction. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 candle correction, and then a continuation. Or this is a short-term reversal. And if it's a reversal, then we could come back and retest 70K, which would be pretty bad, because you're falling from, I mean, that's what, 80 Now, that's a $20,000 drop. So if you drop 20 grand, imagine what the altcoins would do. They would just get obliterated. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, I'm looking at this. We're pausing out here a little bit. So if we look at the weekly, we're on an 8 on the weekly, guys. Oh man, that sucks. So now we're about to get a 9. Okay, so a 9 sell on a weekly is about as bearish as you could possibly get. But look what happened over here. We had a 9 right here on the weekly, and it didn't even phase it. So I'm not looking at this 9 as anything serious. The reason why is because, look, you got a 1 2 1 2, you shoot up, you break the top, you get a 9. Same thing here. 1 2 1 2, you shoot up, you break the top, you get a 9. So you got to know what type of 9 is it. Is it a 9 at the 5th wave, for example? You have 1 2 3 4 5, and you get a 9. Plus you had a 9 on the 3rd. The 9 on the 3rd told you we were going to correct. The 9 on the 5th told you it was most likely a much more serious correction, right? So I would expect a little bit of consolidation in here. So just think of us being kind of like right in here. And we chilled out for about, almost three weeks to a month, right? So we got time. We got plenty of time. So let's look. Let's go back to the 4-day. There's your 9. All right, let's go back to the daily. So you can see what that 9 did. It called the top perfectly. We went up here. Now it printed these red dots. So the 9 really doesn't get thrown away until we actually break above those red dots. So I would expect some consolidation. You can already see a little bit of a range here that it's building, right? So in order to diagnose this, we need to look at the small time frames here. So, it's not really telling me much, except a few things. All right, so let's go to the 1 hour. So you look at the 1 hour, you can see, look at that. We had a perfect 9 here, and we printed all of those red dots. And these green dots are the setup trend. And it does a really good job at sort of giving you sort of some range, the boundaries, right? But let's just take that off for a minute and just look clearly at the wave structure here. So what I notice is we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and we have 3 back down. So that might be finished. Bitcoin might be done, right? So what happened during this Bitcoin consolidation? We saw altcoins go up. Now what do we see? We're starting to see them pull back. So what are people doing now? They're taking profits, most likely in Bitcoin, right? If things shoot up, like a Bitcoin guy has, because Bitcoin is the primary asset, right? So Bitcoin guys want to make money on alts too. So they sell their Bitcoin because, we're chilling out here for a little while. And then they make their money in the alts. Now the alts start coming down a little bit, and then they take their profit back into Bitcoin, and that's what starts to kickstart it back to the upside. So if we have 3 down and we have 3 up and we have 3 to back down, that could be a W, X, Y. This could be a running flat right here, okay? And it's finished. It's completely done. And then what we have is a diag, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A diag is sort of kind of like overlapping, and now we're flagging out. So that's our wave 1, and now we're flagging out for a wave 2. So you have your W, X, Y, right? So theoretically this should go, maybe we're not finished yet, but it should go up to the 3rd wave. Now there's problems with it. The first problem is this wave 2 looks a little bit too big. It's a proportional problem. But you can see we sort of have, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then maybe we're getting 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, whatever, right? So basically the whole thing is 1, 2, 3. It's an ABC, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and ABC down. So let's see, without breaking this low, we don't want to break this low. If we broke that low, which is, I gotta look in a minute, but yeah, the low is, we don't want to break below 87.8. If we do that, then it kind of, it doesn't have the right look. So what else could it be? Well, I'm still looking at it as a fourth wave, right? We have one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's look at wave 2. How long did wave 2 take? Well, it depends where it stopped. If we be the conservative approach, wave 2 ended in it took about 3.5 days. So we're already beyond that, I think. So let's see. Yeah, we're already at 5 days. So if we take it from the top here, yeah, look, well, we're about 4 days. We're over 4 days, okay? So it's still in the realm of the same degree, but we're going to need to see some action soon. But here's the thing. It's Sunday. We got the weekly close. So, you know, who knows? That the biggest thing is on a Monday morning, because that's where markets decide based off the weekly close of what happens. Do we have to come down and retest some of those areas? For example, if we look at the weekly candle, and I'll go back to the small time frames in a second, right? Does the following candle have to come back and retest that 50%? You can see this candle did not, right? So, but here's the thing. We are in price discovery, guys. We just broken out and we're in price discovery. So what that means is the price is discovering where it's trying to figure out where it belongs. It's figuring out these new volume profiles. It's figuring out where the liquidity is. You know, it basically the price is on a scavenger hunt. It's looking for liquidity. So if there's no buyers up here, we got to come down. If there's a lot of buying interest at a certain level, like maybe 80K, then it's going to gravitate towards that, right? If there's still if no one's selling, maybe we have to push a little bit higher. But again, small time frames, right? So the weekly chart, either flag out, continue higher, or back test, continue higher. Hopefully we don't have to do that. So let's go back to the 1 hour. So what else could this structure be? Well, let's say the fifth ended here. All right. Then we would have 3 down. Okay. This looks like 1, 2. It looks like we're going to get something like that. You know, because we're sort of flagging out in here. So it kind of looks like we have 3 down, we have 3 up, right? And then to me, it would appear that we would get another 3 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, depending if it's a WXY or whatever. So essentially, we have something like this. Now, it could be finished, right? This could be our 3. So we have 3, 3, and then we're working our way down, A, B, C, right? So, and then we go up, right? So, yeah, we just have to wait. We have to wait and see. I gave plenty of ideas. So let's see how it plays out. All right, let's look at some other coins here. By the way, let's look at the retracement level real fast. I forgot to do that. If you pull the retracement up, we got rejected very strongly. Well, I wouldn't say very strongly, but we got rejected at the 786, and we're sort of chilling at the 50. So if we want anything meaningful, we got to break above 91.8K. So anything above 92 is very bullish. All right. So yeah, that's about it. Let's look at some other ones. So THETA, still bearish, right? I'm gonna be very fast. Let's go rapid fire because I've already wasted a lot of time. So either something like this, right? A, B, C, or we get something like this was finished, right? This was a flat, and this is a 1, and we're flagging out for a 2, and let's go. Or it's going to be an A, B, C, and then we go. But either way, I think it's going to be one of those ideas. So let's look at algo. So algo it's kind of in the same story as XRP. You know, we got 3 down, right? It could be finished and we can go, or we can see 3, we can see 3, and we can see 3. So anytime you get 3, it could be another complex correction, or that's all you can get. And the way you figure that out is how does it react on the way back up. All right, let's keep moving. So I wanted to show you guys some charts here that I think are pretty meaningful. So for example, like theta. All right, so when you zoom out on theta, what do you see? I took my profit on theta because we were at the retracement levels on my trade, not my total, right? My trade. I took some profit because we stopped out at the retracement levels. Anytime you have 3 waves down, you shoot right up, and then you get sort of stuck here. It's either going to be a 1, 2, and we're going to go, or it's going to be an A, B, C, and then go. Or a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We go sideways, then go, right? So I'm looking at this either as a 1, 2, and we're about to kick off for the next cycle or the next run, or I'm looking at this as 3 down, right? We get 3 up, and then we get maybe 3 back down, okay? And then continue. But the way I'm looking at it, it looks pretty bullish. This was impulsive to me, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have a 3-way pullback. I mean, this could be, you know, it looks pretty good here. All right. So let's look at the weekly real quick. So the weekly chart is not that pretty because it looks like a sort of a doji, but that's okay because you have to understand where that doji's at, right? So for example, here's a good example on the weekly chart. So you can see Bitcoin, right? It's just in the same situation, right? It came up and then it kind of had a little bit of a doji here, but then look what happened. We blasted off. So you got to kind of see where that is, right? If it's kind of like at the top of a wave, then I can understand. But if you're sort of pushing through the retracement or breaking out of the retracement levels, then you know what I mean, I can understand that too. You can see that kind of right in here too. So just a little bit of an example. Let's move back. Okay, so we have that right there. So I'm not fazed by that at all. I think this thing still has a lot of legs to go, because after all, what has been the primary idea for theta, right? Building a base. Once that's complete, then we break out. And then what is it? The retracement levels. Once we get through that, then what? The swing high. Once we get through that, then what? This retracement block right here, right? Or not retracement block, but this area right around between like $6 and $10, right around that $8 area, right? So we're still in our little box. We need to break the box. We need to, you know, get moving up here, right? So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. All right, but that's for another day. So let's look at the 4-hour. So the 4-hour chart, remember, we talked about this too, because we talked about, you know, this Wyckoff structure quite a bit, and you can see that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're sort of playing around in this area, right? So maybe we get some kind of triangle in here, right? And then we break out. So that's kind of what I'm waiting. I want to see some wave structure, right? I want to see exactly how this thing is shaping up. So far, it looks like an ABC, right? But, or it could be a 1-2. But I need, you know, again, it's going to be about the small time frames. It's going to be about figuring out how this thing's playing. But regardless of that, it's very bullish, right? It's very, very bullish. So, you know, you got a lot of support. I don't think we're going to break below $1.26. I think that was the low. You know, it came down quite a bit. So I think 126 holds. If it doesn't hold, then I'm looking at I'm looking at 119 or 120. So if 126 breaks, I'm looking at around 120. But this is the area where we really can't, you know. And since it went up more than 90%, it looks like a flat. So if we come down, depending, you know, where we land here, we want to see, you know, how it reacts off of those lows. So let's zoom back in to the 10-minute chart. And there you go. You can kind of see it's definitely not finished, right? So I want to see this thing play out a little bit. Now, if it is finished, right, it could be finished because, you know, we could have 1, 2, again, 3, 4, and 5, and this could be A, B, C. So this could be a wave 1, and now we're flagging out for a wave 2, and this thing can be getting ready to go Monday morning or even tonight. You know what I mean? So if that was the case, then what would I look for? Well, I kind of want to see a little bit further, one more hit to the low. But then what I would look for is, do we get an impulse to the upside, or does it sort of correct in 3 waves to the upside? How does it react in the retracement levels, right? So it's like I need to hire somebody to look at these screens because I can't look at them all day. But you know, that's what we have to do. We have to track it. You know, it's all about tracking the wave. So anyway, that's theta. Let's keep moving on. Same thing with let's see if we can get other charts to give us some wave structure. Maybe something's telling us another story. So when we look at Filecoin, for example, you know, we came up and we took the top, A, B, C. Maybe we get a running flat here. That looks really good, right? Because we have a correction up. We came up, we hit the top, right? We pull back, maybe some type of flat, and then we go. I really like that a lot. It could be an expanded flat, A, B, C, and then go, but I'm not on board with that yet. So let's look at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute looks kind of setting up for a long a little bit here. Let's see, do we have any divergence? No, we don't have divergence yet. You kind of got a little bit of a something there, right? So we need more wave structure here. We need more time. So if this, for example, comes up and then it comes back down, right? And then we sort of hold support in here, and then we get an impulse off the low, and then we flag out, I would be looking at it to break out, because I would see a running flat and then a 1-2. So that's kind of what I would like to see, but we'll see how it plays. Matic, here's another one, right? We slammed right into the retracement levels, A, B, you know, because a B wave is a trap. It made you think, okay, we have the dip, we bought the dip, now it's going to break out. But a lot of times, it's just going up for a B wave before it has to go down into that reaccumulation before going, right? So we went up more than 90%, so it's going to be a flat. Question is, what type of flat? So that's idea number 1, which is a flat, right? And then we go up. The idea number 2 is that this is our impulse, and this is a 3-way pullback, and this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 1, and now we're flagging out for a 2, and we're about to rip for a 3. So how do I know which ones are going to be? Well, again, we got to track the wave. We got to see what it does. We have to see how it reacts in here. Does it come up impulsively? Does it come up correctively? Right? If we kind of do this, I would expect maybe one more hit to the low, right? Sort of a three-way move. So anyway, that's Matic. I'm just kind of going over some examples. Oh man, this one kind of broke my heart because I was in dog and I took my profit right on this retracement. Like, I think it was that red candle right there when it was finished. And what it did is it came, that was like a little bit of a flat here, and now it's starting to run up again. So yeah, I don't think it's finished. I think this thing's gonna be one of the big ones. Look at that. And that's only a wave 1. This is a wave 2. Looks like a 1-2, 1-2. This thing looks like it's going to rip to the upside. Doesn't mean today or tomorrow. It might take time, especially if Bitcoin needs to correct a little bit more. But yeah, I'm bullish on this. I'd like to see a little bit of a pullback. You know, the weekly chart looks really good. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I've high hopes for this one. Bohm as well. So if I could pick 2 small cap memes, it would be Bohm and Dog. Oh man, the names they come up with. If you were to create a meme coin, what would you call it? Let me know in the comment section. If you can create any type of meme coin, what would you name your meme coin? Let me know. And by the way, since you're down in the comment section, hit that like button real quick. We passed an hour. And you know what happens when we passed an hour? The freaking YouTube algorithms. You know, people don't want to click a video if it's over an hour long. They go, oh, it's too long. I don't want to get into it because then I have to watch the whole thing. But my response to that is you don't have to necessarily watch the whole thing, but at least watch the first 10 minutes. If I put a video out and it's over an hour, just watch 10 minutes of and basically explain most of what I have to say in the first 10-15 minutes of the video. And then from there I go into the altcoins and other things like that. So just so you understand, you don't have to watch the whole video to understand what I'm saying. The reason why they're long is because I like to go and talk possibilities, ideas, and I like to look at a lot of different charts. So anything else on Dog? Well, it could be coming up for a three-way move. Either it's going to break out, or this is a three-way move to the upside, and we might need 3 down. So A, B, C, and then go. Right? So we have to be a little careful. It could be a trap, and it could come back down and reset. Let's see. It already went up quite a bit. So it's up 17. Gosh, it's up 17%. Man, why did I sell that? I basically sold the whole thing because, you know, with meme coins, I get in, I get out for my trades. But anyway, yeah, that's Dog. Let's keep moving on. Let's look at Render here. So Render is still flagging out. It's still, I don't like it as much now. I think, you know, it has to prove itself relatively quickly. So what I see here is I see 3 down, right? So 1, 2, 3. That could be let's say an A, okay? And then we come up, either this is a B, or we have 1, 2, and then we pop the high. That's our B, right? So it's either here or here's the B wave. And then we come down for C, and then we go up. So it'd be A, B, C. 3-way move. The markets, they move in 5s and 3s. So is it 5 or is it 3? That's what we have to know, right? But all in all, I'm looking at this as a 4th wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's get 5. I like that it kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders a little bit. So you have a shoulder, you have a head, right? And it's kind of curling up for that shoulder. Let's see if we can break out. I don't like how this shoulder is bigger than the head. I mean, you know, it kind of is what it is. So I would just draw a line right here. And let's see, is there anything I can connect down here? Probably not. Something like that. right? And just see what happens in here. So again, it could be 3, or here's another idea. We have 3 down, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a 1, 2. But I just don't really like that. It could also be a triangle, right? So we can have like A, B, you know, C, D, and E, and then go. I mean, it's in a correction. We have to track it. So, but what is the ultimate thing? It's going to break out, right? If it has to come down here, I think we got much more upside to go. People want to know, where is it ultimately going to go? And I believe it's ultimately going to go higher. So, because if you look at the 6-hour chart, or not even that, let's go to like the 2-day chart, right? You can see we have a nice 3-way move, right? We got 3 up, we got 3 down, and now we want to see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. We want to see a bigger move back to the retracement levels. And then, you know, hopefully we can get the hell out of there. So, all right, that's render. Zcash, I took some profit on Zcash. But man, it does still look pretty kind of bullish, because anytime you come down and you shoot straight up and you get kind of stuck in the retracement level, I mean, that's a good indication to take a little bit of profit here. So either, again, just like with theta, either this is going to be an A, B, a C, right? Or A, B, C are running flat, or this was your 3-wave move, this is a 1, now we're flagging out for a 2 and we're about to go. So really those are the options, right? And when you zoom out a little bit further, it looks a little weird. It's challenging. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got a 3-way pullback. This looks like a 1. This looks like a 2. And then this looks like a 1, 2. This looks like a 1, 2. Okay. And then now we have maybe we're still in the 2, or this is the beginning of the 3rd. All right. So XLM. Same thing with XRP. I'm not going to really jump into it. Let me look at the small time frames. Okay, so we have a little bit of a, you know what? This reminds me of near. Remember when because it pays to have a good memory. Remember near, how it kind of looked like that? Let's go look at near real quick. Where are you, near? There you are. Okay, so let's go to the 2-hour. I think it was a 2-hour. No, let's go down to the... Take a mental screenshot of what you just looked at. I know it's kind of late now, but look. You see how it came down, hit the low, boom, boom, all right? And then, so XLM could be like right there. So then it kind of trickles up, and it was a very interesting correction, right? So maybe we're getting something like that. Right, so let's go back to XLM. Okay, so you could see it kind of similar, right? How it comes boom, boom, right? You have that little M shape. So what did near do? It kind of just played around until it broke out. So that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is that this was an A, this was a B. It was a very shallow B. I don't even think it was a shallow. I don't even think it's finished. I think this is 3 up. I think this is 3 down. And I think we're probably going to get another 3 up. So I think it's going to be a larger B wave. So A, B, and then we reevaluate here. Because we can break out, or we can come down for a C, or even a flat. All right? So it just doesn't look finished. You could say that it looks like maybe like a descending triangle, right? If that's the case, you break down A, B, C, and then go, right? So definitely need more wave structure to get a good feeling about it. Shiba. So with Shiba, I still think it's going to break out even higher. The reason why is because, I mean, let me see here. Let me zoom out even further. Okay. So one of the things is that it's dangerous is that we're in the retracement levels, right? So the weekly chart is about to, the weekly candle is about to close, and it's going to close in a doji, right? It's going to close in this area. So that's kind of bearish, right? So if it needed to, it could actually come all the way back down and retest. That's why I took my profit, some of my profit on SHIB, because I don't want to hold that if it has to come all the way back down. You know, especially, you know, funding fees, leverage, things like that. You don't want to be holding that. Yeah, if we have to do that, that would be interesting. But let's zoom back in. And what I like about it when we zoom in, or I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like. This is a 1, 2. This could be 3, 4, and 5. But if it is 5, I don't think 5 is finished. The reason why is because, and I don't even think it's 5. I think this is a 1, 2. But let's say it is. I don't even think it's finished. The reason why is because you have 1, 2. That's 1, that's 2. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like you need to come up and hit 5. And that would be wave 3. And then you get 4 and then 5. Right? So, but there could be an argument to be made that it is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. I don't really like it a lot, but it is what it is. But even if that's the case, we still have 3 waves down. We have a pop. We're flagging out. And let's continue rolling here. So if we zoom in, another look to it is, yeah, okay, that is 5. I remember now because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 was a diag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we got that. All right, so that's 5. So in that case, we have W, X, Y. We have a 3-wave move to the downside, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be our wave 1. This could be maybe a 2, and then we go up for 3. So let's look a little closer. But yeah, it's still very corrective. So I'm not really getting the warm and fuzzy feeling just yet. Okay, we're sort of we sort of need more. We need more price action to kind of get an idea here. You know, we're sort of stuck in that range. But we do see 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do see 3. I do see 3. Maybe we come down and we get another 3, or even like, yeah, something like that, and then come up. So 1, 2, and then come up. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So just got to be patient. All right, let's look at ADA. I took my profit on ADA as well because that thing has 5 waves. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I definitely took my profit on that. I just wasn't sure if the 5th was done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe if we have one more wave to the upside, then you know what? It is what it is. But I was happy with it. So now I'm just kind of waiting on the sidelines, waiting for an entry. And let's see here. Yeah, that kind of looks good for a short-term long. Look at this. How we kind of came down here a little bit. Maybe a little bit of a 3-wave move. That could be a little scalping trade. By the time you watch this video, it's probably invalid. So, or it probably is already too late. Remember, nothing is financial advice. I could be wrong. Okay. But I see 3. I see 3. And maybe we get 5. Or maybe the 3rd. Usually, when you have a shallow B wave, it usually means it's not finished. So maybe you get something like this, like a bigger B wave before you get C, right? Again, we need to wait. So QNT, I mean, it's not really helpful. I mean, this looks like a 1, this looks like a 2, this looks like a 3, maybe we get a 4 and then a 5, right? So we have 3 up, 3 down, and then 5 up. 1, 2, 3. Still looks like it needs to be finish. Let's look at the small time frames. I mean, I feel like a long should be coming soon, but if I flip it upside down, yeah, I'm not convinced yet. I need more wave structure to feel comfortable. XDC had a beautiful wave to the upside. Boom. We had a 3-wave pullback. Kind of building a base in here. So, you know, maybe we need a retrace. Looks pretty good. ABC kind of building a little base. Maybe for a little scalping trade, a retrace. Not financial advice, but that's kind of something I would look for. So, zoom out a little bit. Because ultimately, I think this thing is 1, 2, 3. And I think we need a flag out for 4 and then get 5. So I think that's it, guys. IMX. We got 3 down. We got 3 up. We got 3 down. We're kind of building a little bit of a base here. We need to start maybe, come on, A, B, C, something like that. So 1, 2, let's get up here. So it looks like we got a little bit more down to go with that one. And then CRV, we broke above the high. We're sort of consolidating in here. We just have to, we need some more wave structure. So I think that'll do it for this video. I like to look at a lot of charts so I can get a good feel for the field. You know, I'm trying to feel things out with all these charts. So my final assessment here is, you know, we got more upside to go, but I think we still need to correct. I don't feel like we have a good enough correction. So we could get something like this, right? Or it could be a simple zigzag, or it can be more complex, right? So anyways, that'll do it for this video. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.